What it
It's the
mean?
pink pill.
It the pink pill, pink pill. Um, Sister Donna was who was that just speaking? Who was I was away from the phone, but I heard it.
What it
It's the
mean?
pink pill.
It the pink pill, pink pill. Um, hmm.
The assertion can be disputed. Like I said, I hear us. We talk about our issues. We do talk about the problems that we have. We're defensive though if those things are communicated by people who are outside of the community. I can give you an example.
Now you don't have to. I think we all understand. Here's the thing, pink pill. Not everyone is credible to have our conversation because they haven't shared the lived experience as we have. So some things you can have an opinion. No one minds people external to our culture having an opinion at all. I don't think that's the issue. But I think when your opinion becomes provocative on the basis of a people that you're not a part of, then that's kind of overstepping certain boundaries. So not hey, there's people in our community that has no allegiance to our community who we won't listen to either. Not everyone, uh, despite how many times we invite people to the picnic, not everyone has the right to formulate their views on us as a people, especially if they don't belong to the culture, or if they do belong to the culture but disassociate themselves with the culture. Let me make it plain: marry outside of people in their own culture, have interests of people outside of their own culture, and don't view themselves socially as people in their own culture does. That I mean specifically, that's what I mean. Even them, they don't have a right to speak on certain things within the confines of the culture. Doesn't make no one a narcissist. Doesn't make anyone gatekeepers. It's just that if you don't, you can't have. Jericho could probably attest to this. But then she probably a little too young. But I doubt it. I'm gonna just see. She probably got her hair straightened with a hot comb before. She can't explain to Sarah what that smells like. But just by doing that, Donna may know exactly what she's talking about. It's unsaid. She doesn't have to explain to her because she's lived the experience. Thereby, uh, uh, Amber can't speak on that because Amber isn't qualified by a non-lived experience in order to speak on that. Now, if
Yes, I
Amber wants to
understand.
form
Yeah, I
a
understand what you're saying.
okay, all right,
Now, here's what I would say to that. Um, that is largely subjective, which is the problem because um, there is nobody. Like I mean, there is nobody. If there is somebody who is qualified to do that, where the community at large would accept it, they're not doing that. So, like, we can say we need this like perfect spokesperson to, hold us accountable, except for there never is one. And you can always pick apart the person and then never have one. And then therefore, no one ever gets to speak. So at some point, it, it gets kind of weird because people who recognize patterns is that every person that comes up and tries to hold us accountable, you dismantle and pick apart and criticize, then you are giving the indication of a level of narcissism because what you are saying is that nobody is good enough to check you, and
not
that
true,
makes you narcissistic.
not true, not true. For an example, you got Mighty Brother on the stage. Y'all were all. You got another Mighty Brother, Captain Tazaryach, on the stage. I'll speak to them. No, when those brothers teach, whatever it is that those brothers do, the people who listen and adopt what they're saying, we're not putting them through a crucible because we know by what they're saying qualifies them to speak on it. It's only when uh, you bring Nancy Pelosi, I'm just using her as an example, to say the same thing that Tazaryach or Yahweh says, we can't qualify her because she doesn't live what she's saying has zero attachment to her in any way. That's what disqualifies. Let me take them two all out of it. No one put Malcolm X through the crucible, Martin Luther King through the crucible. As a people, we didn't have to do that because when we heard them speak, we knew they were speaking from our interest, from a lived experience. We didn't have to say, well, let me see if this nigga like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches before I endorse him or not. We didn't have to do that. Black people inherently don't do that when we know they're real. We don't have to do it when we know you're real. We don't, no one, no one at all, no one at all put Fred Hammond and questioned whether or not he has black interests after they heard him speak for the first time. No one said, I wonder if this nigga's a government plan or not. Because by what he was saying, could get him killed by the same people we're trying to say that we have suspicion, that we raise suspicion over him in. What I'm saying to you, sister, is this. It's only very obvious that we have to do that when people start to speak on our behalf for us. We have to then disassociate ourselves as a people and say, hold on, wait. That nigga don't speak for us. Hold on, wait. She don't speak for us. And when we do that, that's not narcissism. When we do that, we identify our own as opposed to who's given. I'll flip it on the other side. Largely, we was given Barack Hussein Obama. I didn't vote for that nigga. He didn't do anything for my people, but he was put there so that we could champion him. And not enough black people was like, who is this nigga? We didn't do that. And in turn, 8 years, we found out he didn't do a goddamn thing for us as a people. I could say the same thing about Jesse Jackson. I could say same thing about Colin Powell. I could say the same thing about what's the Condoleezza Rice. I can go on and on and on and on and on and make mention of black people who was put in certain positions, not by black people, but by an opposed interest, but put that individual there so they can be the face of us, so that we can adopt the tenets that come from them, and that person speaks on behalf of us. We're not going for that. So now when we not go for it, when we don't go for it, that don't make us narcissists. That makes us intelligent. With that, I mute my mic.
I think that you're missing the point. I'm talking like a characteristic of a narcissistic person is that you can point out all the wrongs in other people. You can find injustice. You can find slights. You can find, you know, offenses. But your behaviors, no matter how antisocial, are never to be questioned. That is what I'm talking about. And what I'm saying is that publicly speaking, there is nobody that is quote unquote acceptable to the Black community that can go on, say, mainstream media and give the position. Because what I see is, and I'll give you an example. I know
I
you said
just
you didn't
showed you
need one, but
Tazaryach
you
on
said
stage right
I
now.
know,
I
but
just showed you one, sis. That's
I
your
know,
personal
I
opinion, but
know, I
we
know, but
have
I'm not.
people
It's
who are
not a
here.
personal. If I could just finish, it's not a personal opinion, because what I said to you was, I'm not talking about small places like Clubhouse. I'm not talking about like
I'm not
we
talking
speaking
about
amongst
small
ourselves.
places like
Okay.
Clubhouse.
Okay. Well, this is okay. So then, if my opinion is wrong, then we'll just have a different opinion.
Oh, let me ask you
Um,
this, and I'll mute up.
Hey,
Are
can
you
I give a
saying
I'm a
position?
pretty
the
large
speaker is
consumer.
only validated if they're from CNN or Fox News or MSNBC? If they don't
No,
speak on that, they're not valid?
what no, what I'm saying, well, in a
Yes, that's
way,
exactly what you're
in
saying.
a way, yes, because it
Okay,
does.
then
And
since you,
if I
I
could,
understand.
so I would
All right.
legitimize, I legitimize it more. Yeah, but what I would just say this.
So if they not on a white man stage, then you shouldn't listen to these niggas. Is what you're
No,
saying?
that's not it. What It's not about a white man stage, because there are plenty of black people who are
You just gave
on those places
credibility to
as
white boy
well.
stages, though.
No, but the point is that they're mainstream and they're widely distributed, and so that is
You
not,
don't
it
think
has nothing to
social
do with
media is
race.
widely
Hey,
distributed?
can I
Okay,
say
yeah,
something real?
I think that you're deliberately straw manning what I'm saying, so we can just
Can I
move
give a real
on.
life example? Like a real life example, and I appreciate being brought up on the stage. The title says "Black people hate when other races hold them accountable." Roe made an excellent point when he said that when white people speak, they're not speaking from my experience. So we take Baltimore for example. Baltimore, horrible place to live. You have Donald Trump that said the National Guard has to come there. Why would he say National Guard? Because he's not black. He don't understand the experience. And then you have the Baltimore mayor, who's actually black and is actually holding black people accountable. And so what did he do? What he did, he said, I'm not going to bring the National Guard in here, but I am going to address the issue that affects black people. Now, that's not narcissism, that's accepting accountability. And since he's came in there, he's reduced the homicides to the lowest it's been since 1970. How did he do that? He treated the violent crime as a public health crisis, accountability. That means treating violent crime as a symptom of multiple factors, including racism, poverty, past violence. I'm reading the actual article. Addressing violent crime as a public health issue involves going beyond arresting people after violence is committed and taking proactive and preventative measures. Now, at the same time that he's doing that, which this is this year that he did this in July, Donald Trump is still saying we got to have the National Guard in Baltimore. Instead of looking at the blueprint that this mayor laid down in the city of Baltimore and saying we should put this in every black neighborhood. How did you get this done? You got it done like this? That's what they should be saying. So it's not about whether we want other people to hold us accountable. When most black people are holding black people accountable, excuse me, I don't want to say most. If you're not solution based with whatever you're trying to hold black people accountable, that's why you get the brushback. So when we look at the news outlets that you mentioned, Roe, and that the sister inclined herself to be, there's no solutions in there. So it's really just a trash talking session on both parts. But if we go to actual solutions and what work was done, that mayor became mayor and actually went and dealt with the problem directly. So I don't think it's an issue about what other races say. It's how they say it and what's their position when they do say it. Alan.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even. I mean, I'm actually talking about other black people. I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm just saying that in general, we don't like it when other people hold us accountable. I understand Donald Trump is going to be tone deaf about that, right? He has no idea about the black experience, especially the black experience in Baltimore. I'm black, but I don't really have much experience about the black experience in Baltimore. What I'm saying is that when we do have the representation, when we do go out in public square and something happens, um, people who we feel comfortable representing us, I'll just say that, um, do not will not say, we as a community, this is not right, we disavow this. There's always some excuse, there's always some reference to some larger entity that is the fuel for all of this, as if we are all automatons and we are ruled by something that is just so powerful that we can't, like, maintain control of our own faculties. That's what I'm talking about. Like, when you coddle, and if I just would like to finish, when you coddle a group of people, when you say that every behavior is okay, or i- it's not okay, but here are the reasons why, you infantilize them. You say that you give people an out when they should not have an out. There are people in our community who should never have an out for the evil that they do, but we provide cover for them. And for that, I'm disgusted over it. And I would respect
Can
us
you give an
more.
example of the
Hey,
cover?
well, can I respond?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I will
yeah.
give
Go
an
ahead, go ahead.
example if you like. Okay. So Van Jones, I don't know how you guys feel about Van Jones, but on CNN, this is the same week I think Charlie Kirk got killed. Came out September 8th or something. This Ukrainian woman who got stabbed on the bus in, I believe, North Carolina, by this black dude who had mental health issues, stabbed her for no reason. She never said anything to him. I saw the video of it and later the audio where he said, "I got that white girl." Van Jones criticized Charlie Kirk because Charlie Kirk, and just to be, lay everything out, Charlie Kirk said that this man killed this little Ukrainian girl because she was white. And Van said, "How dare you? We don't know what's going on with this poor man who may have suffered mental health issues." And what I saw was a spectacular act of cruelty. I don't know if you've ever seen that video. I don't like to watch videos of people, real human beings actually dying. But I saw this man stab this little girl who had just gotten off work at a pizza restaurant 3 times, get up and walk away. 4 black people sitting right around her who did absolutely fucking nothing. She looked around in shock. If any of you guys have kids, you know that look when they hurt themselves and they look around begging and pleading to find somebody to help them? That was the look that she had on her face.
You
And
talking
nobody
about
did
in North Carolina?
anything. Yes, nobody did anything.
The
A
funny
black
thing is,
man did finally,
it
a
was
black
actually a
man.
black guy that actually helped her
I,
out. That's the funny
I'm
thing
just about
about
to
it.
say that.
And
And
no,
it took 2 minutes. A black guy did finally come to her aid. But on the video, when she collapsed on the floor, nobody came to her aid, even as the man who assailed her left the bus. And so what I saw was a horrendous act of callousness and a
It was a
just
prank.
like inhumanity. I don't care if the girl was white. I don't care what she was. That was not the thing, that you're going to give excuses for this man that he might have some mental health issues and not look at the 4 people who sat there and did nothing even when the danger had left.
Okay,
You can't tell me that that's not evil. And I can't, and you and I, and what I saw black people say.
Did you feel like that about George Floyd?
because like
Okay, that is, we're not doing whataboutism because you're not going to get
You
me
got
on
it,
that.
Cap. You got it, Cap. You got it, Cap.
y'all got it, please, Baba Kasha.
It's not about
Because
that nigger, Cap.
no, because what's happening is that
No,
she
because
you
he's
made us.
deflecting. He doesn't want to
I'm
address
not.
what I said. He wants to
I'm gonna
deflect to
address
something
exactly.
else.
I'm gonna address exactly what you said, and the only reason Roe did that because y'all were all asked you for an example, and you gave an example of a black man that was clearly mentally challenged that unalived a white woman. And then you mentioned how black people didn't help. It took 2 minutes for black people to help. A better example, since we're using the train, a white man choked out a black man on a train, and everybody watched this white man choke this black man out. And this
And he
white man got
deserved it.
off with the
What?
crime. And
He
when you
deserved
say
it.
something, don't nobody get triggered. Because and when you say he deserved it, you represent that white audience.
She got a white husband.
Because
She's married to a white
wait,
man.
let me.
Want black
I didn't. You
people
asked not to be. You asked
terrorizing
not to be
public
interrupted. You
transit.
asked not to be. You asked not to be interrupted. That brother that got choked out was known for performing in the trains as Michael Jackson. That's what he was known as. He wasn't bothering nobody. And that white man who was not mentally challenged just took it upon himself to unalive him and got away with it. That
Hey,
is a
but Cap,
horrible. And here's the crazy part. Here's the crazy part. The crazy part of it all. The same sister said that you shouldn't have no empathy at all for people that conduct evil acts. The whole reason why I use Baltimore, because Baltimore was known as one of the most murderous places ever. And the way that they got it down to the lowest murder rate since 1970 is by having empathy. It's by going door to door. It's by providing resources. To say that you're not supposed to understand why somebody unalives when we see every other race try to do the same exact thing. The minute they found Charlie Kirk's so-called killer, they went right to his background. This guy grew up in a good, he had a, and here's the crazier part. Charlie Kirk got murdered by somebody that has a mother and father, somebody that went to college, good family, good background, and still unalive Charlie Kirk. Whereas black people grow up impoverished, in pain, no resources. And so at least their killing, which is not justified, what is the justification when a white kid does it? And so what we're going to go down is the world of comparing who commits crime and who doesn't. When really, when it says black people hate when other races are accountable, there was no reason for Donald Trump to call Baltimore a cesspool and say we got to send a National Guard, except to take away from the excellent work that mayor of Baltimore did to fix the problem. The problem is when you present the solution is actually compassion on black people, it's sisters like this woman here that will say, no, that's not the way. But you would have to explain to me why, when the mayor gave compassion to the city of Baltimore, that they have the lowest murder rate in 50 years. That's what you would have to explain to me.
Well, first, I would say that I don't know much about Baltimore. I do know that in Washington, D.C., the things that he did in Washington, D.C. actually did have a benefit. I actually saw residents who actually lived there that said that they liked what was being done, that they felt safer. And they also have statistics that show that there was improvement. And if I'm not mistaken, even the mayor had to come out and say, there was a dramatic
But why are
improvement
you
with the
switching from my
crimes while they
question?
were there.
But why are
Because
you switching from my
Baltimore, I
question?
don't know.
That
I don't know about.
my question wasn't about the city of Baltimore. My question was, you said you should not have compassion on people that conduct evil acts. Baltimore has the
Yes,
lowest murder.
yeah.
I just want to finish. So you didn't understand the question the first time. So I'm just
Hmm.
saying it again so you can understand. Listening is an art. So now he lowered the murder rate by having compassion, by going door to door, by giving them resources. So, how do you say out of your mouth that you should not, when we have real live data of the lowest murder rate in 50 years? Wouldn't that be taking accountable and fixing the problem? Yes or no?
Well, first off, you're taking one incident and trying to negate
Can you
the
answer the
meta
question,
conversation that I'm
please?
having. Well, first off, I think that I have to look at more of what Baltimore has done, which is what I'm doing right now.
And anybody, I'll put the link in
Okay.
the chat. I'll read it again. The
No,
secret to
I'm
Baltimore,
looking at
you
it. I'm looking at
The
it right
secret
now.
to
I'm looking at it
Baltimore's,
right
no problem.
now.
I'm just going to read the article. The secret to Baltimore's extraordinary year. This April, Baltimore saw five homicides, the fewest in any month since 1970, when the city began tracking monthly homicide. It's in the first 6 months of the year, homicides are down 22% compared to 2024, and non-fatal shootings down 19%. What has made Baltimore, which President successful in making the streets safer? Baltimore down 22% compared to 2024, and non-fatal shooters down 19%. What has made Baltimore, which President successful in making the streets safer? Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott, who was first elected in 2020, has brought the city's homicide rate down by treating violent crime as a public health crisis. That means violent crimes as a symptom of multiple factors, including racism, poverty, past violence. Addressing violent crime as a public health issues is going beyond arresting people. Arresting people after violence is committed and taking proactive and preventative measures. So that's the blueprint. You said no empathy, no compassion.
No, no.
His
Okay.
blueprint was the opposite.
Okay. So like I said, I'm just finding this out, and I think that this is wonderful. That is, what you're saying is accountability, and those things can both exist in what I'm saying at the same time. This is excellent. I have no
Thank you.
pushback to
I
that.
appreciate
I
you
have
listening
no,
and hearing
yeah,
that. One
I have
follow up
no.
question. No problem. One
Okay, wait,
follow
but
up.
I'm not done.
No, just
Finishing what
follow a
I'm
question
saying.
and then you be done.
No,
If you
but I'm not. We wanted me to answer the question. I'm not done
you're not
though.
done answering the question, is what you're saying?
Yes, I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not done answering the question because you are making a false equivalence in what I am saying by bringing up Baltimore when that's not really the point of what I'm trying to say.
Well, the what I heard was you placing a basically a burden on black people to
Be
have
accountable for
have
their
the
actions, yes, and police each other
But
like
no
we
no no
used
and
to
one
you
do.
second one
and my
second you
Yes,
last
said
statement
police
is
each other you
as
said
you say be
police each other.
accountable.
Yeah.
It's based on the title. As you say, be accountable. Black people hate when other races hold them accountable. At the same time that mayor is doing that work, and you have another race of people trying to shoot down that work, which one is actually counterproductive?
Well, obviously, in this case with Baltimore, the people who are trying to shout down that work is
So that would be the other
counterproductive.
race of people, right?
Yes, it would. But
Because
you, like
now,
I said,
okay,
you are
I'm not finished.
extrapolating.
Here's what. No, no, I'm not because I want to go somewhere. And I'm glad you said that the other race, which in this case would be the white race, is counterproductive. Here's why that's the problem. That solution in Baltimore, if that white race that claims to hold us accountable, and we supposed to hate when they hold us accountable, see us holding ourselves accountable, that should be applauded. If that was a white city, white state, white country, Donald Trump would say, "Oh, how great this guy is. He's
I agree
wonderful.
with
He's
you.
excellent. He's doing all this." And by him saying that, he can make it to where there's a ripple effect where we take that to DC, we take that to New York, we take it to Chicago, we take it everywhere. But instead of him doing that, he downplays and shoots down the work that mayor is doing. So when a black person can know what this mayor is doing and know that we have a plan, we just need the government that's supposed to care about us to do it, but then they're saying something opposite. That's why we don't want to hear from them. Because even when black people hold themselves accountable and do it, they still shoot it down. That's what we call a body bag. I'll go ahead and mute up. My apologies to y'all all, Roe and Asha. I just wanted to say that. That's all. Y'all got it.
Yeah. So again, thank you for
Boy,
pointing out
Nah,
that.
smooth
you
criminal.
you good,
Yeah,
Cat. You good.
Boy,
yeah.
smooth
But
criminal.
for pointing